Welcome to the Deep Dive,
Emerald City Hockey's Seattle Kraken podcast.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Deep Dive Emerald City Hockey Seattle Kraken podcast. And RJ, today is the big one. This is our episode of August, way too early month, where we predict every game, all 82 of them, of the upcoming Seattle Kraken schedule. Last year, it'll be 82 games, RJ, as it'll be increasing next year with the new CBA. So hopefully we make this one a good one as we say goodbye to the way too short 82 game schedule.
Yeah, that's what the regular season needed, was more games. So it's only two more. So I don't think it'll be that much more difficult when we come back here next year and predict all 84 games. But still, it is a pretty big task for us to do, but I think we're up to it. We did it last year, and we can, of course, go over how we did last year as well. But it's going to be really fun kind of trying to tell the story of the Kraken season in our fictional world here as we try and predict what's going to happen.
I am definitely looking forward to it, as well as talking about some recent Seattle Kraken news as well. We have an announcement and some news there to talk about. But first, of course, we've got to thank our wonderful sponsor, the law offices of Rico Tessendor. And I have a question for you, RJ. Really, it's a question for Rico. And that is, with the I-5 closures this past weekend and all of the work that's been going on through the city there, I was wondering, obviously, it's meant a lot of people have had to take alternate routes if they had to go through Seattle. Maybe some of those get interesting. Google Maps is very interesting up here, is one thing I've learned from living in Seattle. And I'm wondering if you went off and tried to follow some alternate route and you ended up in some, I don't know, some crazy trail through the mountains, some sort of off-road situation. I wonder if then and you get like a flat, I wonder if then you could be like, look, this is because I-5 was closed, I had no choice, I had to take the sketchy road. If there's something there.
That might be a bit of a stretch. Maybe a good attorney could make it work. It reminds me of the situation in The Office where the Nav tells Michael to just drive into the lake.
I
I
never
feel like
watched
at a
The
certain
Office.
okay. Well, I feel like at a certain point you've got to not drive into the lake. But that said, I could see, being in unfamiliar territory or having to take alternate routes, maybe there's a turn you're not expecting, or maybe there's something else like that. And I wonder what the accident numbers are with that change, or more people just stay at home and it kind of cancels out. I don't know.
Yeah, you'd have to do it based off of, I guess, per capita for drivers.
I guess so.
During a given weekend. But yes, no, it really, I think you would also, if it did do the drive into the lake scenario, I guess then Rico would have to go after Google or whatever your nav system was.
Hey, deep pockets.
Very, very. So might be opening up a whole new avenue of stuff here for Rico. But we of course appreciate Rico sponsoring the pod as always. And while we hope none of you ever need his services, the odds say that at some point someone out there will be involved in an accident, whether on the road, at work, or anywhere in between. And when you are, we hope you call Rico at 425-778-9800 or visit his website, ricotessendor.com, to schedule a free consultation. He's won millions of dollars for his clients and helped thousands of people in the greater Seattle area. And as a fellow member of the ECH community, we know he'll help you too. And then, RJ, we have one more quick announcement before we get to the Riker Evans extension.
Yes, we do. So I want to remind everybody, we mentioned it a couple weeks ago on the podcast. I want to remind everyone, Oops All Goalies is this coming weekend. It is Saturday, August 23rd, with two back-to-back games at KCI. That's 5 o'clock to 9 o'clock p.m. And Dylan, you've been doing Oops All Goalies before. It is such chaotic fun. It is an entire hockey game of all goalies. Everybody out there is a goalie playing some hockey. The one thing you can't do is actually goaltend in the net. Can't do that. You could do that every other game, but it's such an awesome event to go to. It's totally free. Just show up. You can watch the games. It's going to be a fantastic time. I will be there. So if you see me, come say hi. And yeah, it's going to be a really great time. August 23rd, 5 to 9 p.m. at KCI. They got two rinks going. So they're going to have like two back-to-back games. I think they're going to have it on two separate rinks. So it's going to be a real fun time.
That's really cool about this year, that just they get more and more goalies every year that want to participate. Unfortunately, I'll be out of town this weekend, so I can't make this one. But it's so cool, and we talk all the time, right? With the viral video we've had, and about them out there playing. It's all the little things that you take for granted in hockey, though, that you start noticing when it's all goalies out there in full goalie gear. Like, I don't know, line changes, right? Line changes get very interesting when everybody's in goalie pads, having to fit through those gates, the ones that are trying to go over the boards. Those are the little things that I think really take the event to that next level. Is you get all those like little things fitting through the doors. It's great. It's fantastic. It just adds to everything on top of already the excitement of everybody out there in their goalie gear, playing the puck and everything. So those are the things that I would just say keep an eye on. After you get through like the first period, you've watched the nap time intermission break. Just keep an eye on some of that small stuff because it gets really fun with all the goalies out there.
Yeah, the one that stands out to me though is even just two players behind the net, right?
Hmm.
Normally, okay, puck battle right behind the
Yeah,
net. There's barely enough room
there's
behind
no
the net
room.
for two goalies to battle it
That's
out.
that's what I'm saying. There's so much about it that really gets interesting. It's just such a fun time, such a great idea, such a fun time, and glad that it's happening again. All right, Riker Evans extension, RJ. It happened true deep dive curse fashion too, about an hour after we finished last week's episode. So I I forgot that we hadn't talked about this already because I was like, we talked about that last week. Well, that was technically after the podcast came out. So Riker Evans extension. Give everybody the details, RJ.
All right, so it's a 2-year extension for Riker Evans. The team and player go with bridge deal, and it is a 2.05 million cap hit on that one, which comes in under projected. I think the
Mhm.
projected cap hit on a 2-year deal was roughly in the 2.8, 2.9 million dollar level. And so, I mean, good deal for the Kraken there. They get some good value. Although I will say, when you look at the big picture of it, at this term, at a 2-year term, the number doesn't really matter. I wouldn't have been critical if it came in at 3.5 over projection. I'm not gonna give him a big pat on the back that it comes in so much under projection because with a 2-year term, look, the Kraken aren't going to hit the cap this year. They're already well under the salary cap. They don't have to worry about any of that. And then next year, there's going to be so much space available with so many contracts coming off the books. I doubt they're going to be a cap team next year. So doesn't really matter what the number is at this 2-year term. The important part of this deal is that they chose to go bridge deal with
Mhm.
Riker Evans. They go short term rather than long term. And really, I think that just communicates that they want to see more. They're still not sold that Riker Evans is going to be a top 4 defenseman in the NHL because I think that's what this comes down to. As a team, do you believe he's going to be a top 4D in the NHL one day? And I think the Kraken's answer to that is, well, I don't know. I'm not sure. I want to see more.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about this. This is why I kind of always thought it would be a bridge deal because we haven't seen all that from Riker Evans. We started to see it for in what year three prior to last season, but then last season it maybe started strong, but certainly there was a lot of low points for him during that season, and you could tell that he was trying to work through it, and he just was never quite able to find a good steady rhythm where he could go out there and contribute. The line shuffling and everything I don't think helped that much. And so this just makes all the sense in the world. See what you have in him, really what his high end is, right? We know he can play in the NHL. We know that he can be that guy. It's just, is he a second pairing player? Is he a third pairing player, right? That's the question right now. And yeah, it doesn't really make sense to go long term and commit dollars on either side to one of those roles if you don't know if he's going to really be the other one. And so this doesn't really surprise me that we get the bridge deal. I think it's what made sense all along and was always going to happen. The one thing about it that I guess is interesting is we've gone through a full off season with Jason Botterill as general manager, and every time he talks about young pieces or every time he gets a question about who's the core of this team, he mentions Maddie, he mentions Shane, he sometimes mentions Catton, but he always mentions Riker Evans because really that's the one defensive piece that they have that's young. And I think, this maybe throws a little bit of cold water on that a little bit just because, again, team isn't totally sure what he is yet.
Yeah, I think you're right on that, and he's going to have to earn a place as part of the team's core over the next couple of years, and that'll be when the big decision is made in 2 years' time. Then, do you sign him for term, or do you maybe trade him, or go something shorter term to walk him to free agency? It's going to be a bigger decision there, but I mean, it's all on Riker Evans to go and earn it.
Yep, definitely. So we'll see how he does this year.
All right. So, Dylan, shall we move on to the meat of the
Yes.
episode here as we're going to try and predict every single game for this upcoming Kraken season? But I think first we have to look
Look
at
back.
how we did last year, just like with all these way too earlys. We look back at our predictions from last year and want to give a shout out to Chuck for tabulating up all of this and counting
Yes.
this for us so we didn't have to. Really appreciate that. Makes it much easier. And so, Dylan, let's start with the big picture because Chuck
Mhm.
tabulated this in a few different ways, which again I
Yeah.
really appreciate. So overall, closest to the total end result. So of course the Kraken 76 points. They go 35, 41, and 6 last year. Below expectation, I think, for
Yeah.
both of us.
Yeah.
We both overshot the mark.
We did.
There was a little more optimism going on, but you were closer. You had them at 37, 37, and 8 for perfect 582 points. Still 6 points too optimistic, but definitely closer than me. I had them at 39, 34, and 9 at 87 points. So, Dylan, you win in that regard. Congratulations. You were more pessimistic.
Yeah, I mean, I don't feel great about the fact that I was closer by being more pessimistic. It obviously reflected how last season went, but if something good has to come out of it, and that's me winning, I guess I'll take it.
Yep. So he also broke it down by home and road record. I was actually closer on their home record. Dylan, you nailed the point total on their road record. You had them 15, 21, and 5. So their actual was 17, 23, and 1, but you did pretty good job with predicting their road total.
Yeah, one of the things that was really interesting about this for yeah, I mean, I certainly thought there was going to be more of a split last year, and there wasn't. But one of the interesting things, though, I think for both of us and Chuck's prediction as well in here versus what actually happened with the team was the lack of the OTLs,
Hmm.
right?
We all had much higher OTLs.
And obviously, I believe the previous year they were at like 13 OTLs, like they had just a ton of them coming all the way down to 6. That was a big drop off there in the OTLs, and I feel like that's where a lot of our predictions, when it came to the end of season point total, really kind of went off the rails a little bit.
Yeah. And so I think it'll be interesting to see, do we make an adjustment this year or do we think there's going to be more OTLs? It gets back to normal. Will be interesting to see, especially given that we think they'll be in more closer games.
Hmm.
Now, as far as actual correct wins and losses predicted, because it's not just the total results. Otherwise, we could just predict a record for the Kraken this season and the episode would be over.
Yep.
We're going through every single game. And I thought this was interesting given that you were more correct on the end result. But so Chuck assigned 2 points for each correct prediction as far as game by game predictions. And I actually predicted more wins correctly. Interesting. So you correctly predicted 18 wins and correctly predicted 29 of the losses for the specific game. So that would be 94 total points there. I correctly predicted 20 wins and 28 losses. So 96 points. So in the specifics, I actually did a little better.
You did by one correct prediction over the course of the 82. It's
Hey, by
I
the
don't
smallest margins, but hey, there it is.
Yep.
Then
Chuck
also,
Chuck beat us
yeah, go
both
ahead.
on that one, by
Yes,
the way, just
yeah,
to shout him out. He narrowly edged you out by one as well.
that is true. Well, I guess if I have to say the narrow margins matter, then they matter there too. Um, Next, he gave 1 extra point each for correctly predicting the game goes to overtime because we did call a couple overtime games. You got 2 right, I got 2 right. That's a wash. 6 for Chuck. So good job there, able to pinpoint some overtime games. Now this, Dylan, is where you went ahead because it's just correct in-game predictions, and so Chuck assigned 1 point for each. And let's go over what you got right here.
Mhm.
So for the season opener against St. Louis, you said Montour, Stevenson, and Shane would all be in the lineup. Seems like an obvious one now, but maybe Shane being in the lineup was not a given at the start of the year. So you got that. November 3rd, you had predicted Joey would be in net versus Boston. Again,
Again, seems
I,
obvious now.
yeah, yeah. December 6th against New Jersey, you said it would be the Jack Hughes game, and he did have 2 assists, so he does usually disappear when they're playing the Kraken or you're watching, so I'll give you that one. January 4th versus Edmonton, you said McDavid 3 points, Draisaitl 2 points. Draisaitl did have 2 points, and so he called it two separate predictions and awarded 1 point to you. So I
It's
don't
a
know how many
little
points
generous.
McDavid
I'll
had,
admit
but
that's
yeah,
generous, but I'll take it.
yeah. Okay, so being a little generous to Dylan here. And then January 20th against Buffalo, you said Shane gets a point and Maddie has more points than Power, and then Shane did get a point. So again, maybe a little generous there. I don't know how many points Maddie had versus Power.
Well, again, you don't want to create a system where we have to be too conservative with our predictions. You
That's
know what
true.
I mean?
That's true.
So
Yeah, you want to be rewarded for it, which is why I'll spoil it here. I'm going to make some more predictions than I did last year just to try and gain a little extra point, but I'm going to try and be specific enough on those
yeah.
so that it's not just spamming it. But so now for me, the ones I got right, I said October 12th against Minnesota, Boldy would do something impressive. See, that is kind of vague. So, and then Chuck said, my memories of a nice assist on a goal by Hartman. He was, however, unsuccessful in the final shootout attempt, giving the game to Seattle. So maybe we're being generous to me too here.
Yeah.
So, and this one he did not, the next one he did not award a point to me for, and I think that's right. That would be too generous.
Yes.
I said November 17th against the Rangers, the lights will not go out. So I don't think that's worth a point.
I don't think that's worth the point either. When you you don't expect a freak accident to occur. Okay, cool.
Yep. So we can't just go with that every game. Then December 21st versus Vegas, I said it'd be a bad loss, and they lost 6-2, down 5-1 by the middle of the third. Grubauer start. I think that qualifies.
I think that qualifies. Although saying that they're going to lose bad to Vegas.
Okay, maybe it's not the hardest one to predict. But,
it's like me saying Joey DeCord's going to start a game.
Yeah. Okay. Fine. And then April 2nd against Vancouver, I predicted, quote, Vancouver drama. I don't really remember any drama in this one. The Kraken won 5-0, but in a season filled with Vancouver drama, I think most of it was in the past by this point. You guys may remember some drama. I don't remember any drama around that specific game.
Yeah, it was all.
But I feel like you got to give me something for Vancouver drama last season, given Vancouver was nothing but drama.
Yeah, but it was all over by April. Chuck is right. It was well in the rearview mirror. Yeah, I guess we'd have to go back and listen to your explanation of what Vancouver drama really was. Like, were you predicting some sort of, Quinn Hughes just crashes out during the game or something?
Yeah, I feel like I would have. Yeah, I feel like I would have just predicted that there'd be some drama like in the background going into it. Like, there
because you picked the one month that they didn't have drama because they had just traded everybody in March.
Right. So that's the thing. If this was in February or January or something, you would have had to give it to me.
Yeah. Hey, there was really great drama of the game around Christmas.
Oh yeah. Yep. So yeah, but I didn't predict it then, so don't deserve a ton of points there. And then Chuck did have a couple. I do want to shout these out. A couple predictions there. With the predicting the Eberle OT game-winning goal, which he did have October 19th. That's a pretty good one. And then November 29th against San Jose, predicting a Celebrini goal. Yes, but who didn't score on Grubauer in that one?
Fair.
Yeah, I was at that game. I remember. So anyway, grand total. So Dylan, you got 94 for the wins and losses, 2 for predicting OT games, and 5 for the in-game stuff, bringing you to a total of 101 points. Now, I got 96 for the wins and losses, also 2 for the OT games, and only 2 for the in-game stuff, bringing my total to 100 points. So Dylan, you win, again, by the slimmest of margins, which I unfortunately said earlier in the pod does matter.
Yep.
Congrats, Dylan, you win.
Yeah, no, it's close one. And again, the Vancouver drama one leaves this open for you to file a protest with the league if you would like to. I think that would be reasonable. I would if it was me. So, yes. But yeah, no, it was a lot of fun. And I know Chuck had a lot of fun tracking this throughout the season. And I know he's been looking forward to us getting started here. And so, yeah, thanks to Chuck. And also thanks to Chuck for this beautiful spreadsheet we have to make our picks for this year, RJ, as we can kind of get into that now and transition over. By the way, Chuck beat us both on stuff last year with a total of 106. So got more of those OT games right, and that just helped him clear us.
Yep. How convenient that those counted for points.
Yep. Now we have this great schedule here that Chuck built out specifically for this, and it has the game number for the season, date it's going to happen, the opponent for the Kraken, if there's an odd time start to it, and then how many games both Seattle and their opponents have had during the previous week, which I think is a really cool one. So we can kind of see if they're, maybe going to be a little tired. One team's played a little bit more recently. Also says if there is a team with a back to back, whether it's Seattle or their opponent, who's playing in the second half of a back to back is on here, and who they played the previous day. Chuck has done all of this work for us. This is fantastic, and it's going to make doing this prediction a lot more fun, I think, having this.
Agreed. I think it's going to make it more fun. You'd think easier, but maybe we'll overthink it. I
I
don't
am
know.
worried about that. Not gonna lie, not gonna lie.
So I'm going to try and look at the information, but maybe not take it into account too much.
Yep, and I know Chuck posted this in the Discord. I will post this in the YouTube description. So
Mhm.
if you want to play along, everybody, you can do it using the same information that we have available to us here. All right. With that said, RJ, I think we got to get into it. October 9th, home opener against the Anaheim Ducks. What are we thinking? Only second time ever the Kraken will start a season at home.
Yes, and they've never won a season opener before.
Yep.
You know what? I think they're due. I think they're due to finally win
Hmm.
a season opener. They're at home. It's against Anaheim. I think you can't ask for much better of a situation there. I think they win the season opener at home, and I'll add another extra little prediction. I think Mason Marchment scores his first goal as a Kraken.
Wow. Okay. So you are going for the extra predictions. I was going to kind of
Oh
like
yes, you
feel it
have no
out.
idea how much I'm going for the extra predictions.
Okay. See, I took the opposite
I'm gonna
approach
tell a
of
whole story.
I'm gonna vibe it out, and just if something stands out to me, I'll say it. I also think they're gonna take this one. I just think they're due. Law of averages says they have to win a home opening game at some point, or really just an opening season game at some point. I also think that while I think Anaheim is going to be a better team over the course of the season, I could see them starting a little slow, new coach and everything like that, getting used to Joel Quenneville's systems. I just think that it seems like the right opportunity for the Kraken to be able to take one there. So I think they're going to beat them. I guess if I had to make a special prediction for this one, I would talk lineup, and I would just say that Berkeley Cat
It
will
worked
be in
for you
that
last year.
game.
Okay, all right. What? How bold?
I'm just saying we haven't seen training camp. We don't know he'll make the team. We don't know how Lane Lambert feels about him.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, he might not. They'll just send him back
I could
before he
make it. I could
9
make it
games.
more bold and say Berkeley Catton will be in. Yanni Newman will not.
Okay, there you go. I think that's an
Okay.
appropriate level of bold. There you go.
Okay.
Okay, so next in a couple days, Vegas comes to town. A little bit tougher of a matchup, you would think.
Yeah.
And I think this is where the Kraken take their first loss of the season. It's Vegas, and I know it's not too bold to predict they lose to Vegas, but I'll add that I think Mitch Marner is going to get 3 points in this one.
3 points. Okay, damn, you are going. I should have spent time coming up with stuff for all of these games then, because you're just gonna beat me by out averaging me.
Here, we can divide by things by like 80 or 82 or whatever. I'm trying to have one of these for like most of the games.
Yeah, yeah, okay. So Vegas, yeah, this is definitely going to be a loss. I just don't know how the Kraken beat them unless again you're playing Lane Lambert's system and you're somehow able to stop the rush attack, which to be honest, Vegas's rush attack started like I think the cracks are starting to show with Bruce Cassidy. Like it wouldn't surprise me if Vegas does struggle over the course of this year. This is more conversation, I guess, really for next week when we talk about the division preview. But I don't think that that's going to be a problem in early October. So I also will say that it's a loss to Vegas. As for a prediction, I think that Mitch Marner will get a point, and I think it'll be his first point as a Golden Knight.
Okay, fair. I mean, it's not going to be Vegas's season opener, so I think
Yeah,
that's adequately bold. All
yeah.
right. So next, the Kraken go on the road for the start of a 6-game road trip. So long one to start the season off. And their first game is at Montreal. This is a 4 o'clock game, as Chuck has put on the sheet here. What are you thinking for this one?
I think they're gonna win. I think they play Montreal good, all the time, right? They're always playing them strong. I think they play great in Montreal. I think the Kraken will win. However, unlike last year where they just laid the hurt on them, I think this one Kraken escape in overtime.
Okay, going with an overtime win. First call of overtime here. I'm also going to go with a win. I mean, they play well against Montreal. I think it's going to be a high scoring game. And I'll go, I had 3 points for Mitch Marner last time. I'll go 3 points for Chandler Stevenson. He loves to beat up on these teams. I think Montreal's going to have a rough defensive night.
I think Montreal's gonna be better this year than people think, but yeah, I think it's gonna be a tough one for them. Going in 2 days later into Ottawa, and now Ottawa will be on the second half of a back-to-back. They play in Buffalo the night prior. Do you think that that affects how Ottawa is going to perform in this one against the Kraken?
I do, because I think they're going to beat Buffalo. I mean, that's not a bold prediction at
Yeah,
all.
shocker.
So I think they're going to beat Buffalo, but they're going to come out slow here. They're going to be a little bit laggy. The Kraken will still have a day of extra rest. They'll have gotten used to being out on the road after the Montreal win. And I'm going to go with my extra prediction. I think Joey gets his first shutout of the season in game
Wow.
4, early shutout against Ottawa.
Against your Ottawa Senators too. That is
Mm-hmm.
bold. I actually think the Kraken are going to drop this one to Ottawa. I think it's too early in
Okay.
the season for back-to-backs to matter. I think Ottawa's a pretty fresh team. I think Ottawa's gonna take this one. I think it'll be close. This is one where again it's gonna be really interesting to see. Like I could see the Lane Lambert system really maybe giving Ottawa problems here. Maybe it goes to overtime, something like that. But I think Ottawa takes it and the Kraken drop it.
Yep. All right. So next, they basically play in every other day here for a little bit, and they go out to
Mhm.
Toronto, from Ottawa to Toronto, and I think they lose this one. I mean, Toronto just seems to have the Kraken's number usually,
Yep.
especially when they're on the road. So I don't have any extra prediction for this one, but I just think the Kraken lose it.
Same. I predict that the decibel reader in the arena will not go above like 65. It's the
That's
quietest arena out there.
that one's pretty bold. I'll give you that one.
Track that answer down, Chuck. I dare you.
Yeah, really. Yeah, giving Chuck a challenge here. Actually, it's too true. If we do too many of these extras here, it might be a little tougher for Chuck. I bet he's up for the challenge, but still, might need to be mindful of that. So, from Toronto, where we're pretty much in agreement here, to the Kraken's first back-to-backs of the season, they've got on the 20th and 21st of October. They'll start off on the road at Philly, and I think they win this one. The Flyers are going to be so bad. They're
So
not a
bad.
good team. I think the Kraken win this pretty handily. I think Grubauer gets a start here. I think this is Grubauer's first start of the season. I think he starts, he plays well, and the Kraken get an easy win.
Yeah, I also think that they get the win there against Philadelphia. I like that prediction for Grubauer. That's kind of what I was thinking too, but I don't know that I can say it now. But I like that. Yeah, it's just the Flyers are terrible. There's not
Yep.
much more that needs to
Oh,
be said. Didn't we have a Philadelphia Washington back to back weekend last year? Because we
we
did
might
like a
have.
live game commentary. I'm just trying to remember if it went Washington Philly or Philly Washington last year. If they reversed it, um, but that is fun. So I think we both are in agreement. They're gonna take the W against Philadelphia. The more interesting game comes against Washington. Again, Kraken play Washington tough. Whether it's at home or on the road, they particularly play them well on the road. However, I think that Washington's going to take this one. I do not think Seattle gets a victory in their first back to back of the season. What about you?
Okay, well, I'm going to differ here. I think the Kraken get a win, and this is going to be a theme here, at least at the start for these back to backs. I think everybody on the team is going to know that this is a thing to focus in on after they went 0 for last year. They're going to put in a ton of effort, and Washington's a good team, but I think they edge out like an overtime or a shootout win. It's going to be close, but I think they're going to get the message and win their first back to back. And yes, by the way, last year, yeah, it was March 8th and March 9th. It was the Philly Washington back to back. They beat Philly 4-1. They lost to Washington 4-2.
Yeah, that checks out. That's what I remember. I realize I should be like tracking. Are you
Yeah,
tracking
the win.
our wins and losses? Okay.
I'm tracking mine.
Okay, so I'll go through and,
You should
and do
track
mine
yours.
as you
Yeah.
talk here about the Kraken going to Winnipeg for the last game of this road trip.
Yep. So October 23rd at Winnipeg to close out the road trip. And it feels like the Kraken always play Winnipeg closer than they should. Winnipeg's usually historically been a much better team, but these teams are always close. It feels like every game finishes like 4-3 too. So I'm just going to predict that as well. Also, Winnipeg will have a back-to-back here. I believe they've got Calgary the next day,
Hmm.
but because of that, I think the Kraken will avoid Connor Hellebuck. I think they're going to give Hellebuck to Calgary. So I think they avoid Hellebuck and they play him close, but they're going to lose 4-3 in overtime. I got my first OTL of the season.
Okay, it's not a bad spot for it, especially because it's the end of the road trip. I actually think the Kraken are going to finish the road trip strong, and I think that they're going to take this one because I agree that Hellebuck's not going to be in that game, and I think that they can perform well against Eric Comrie. They just
I
can't.
think so too.
They just can't. So I think the Kraken are gonna squeak one out. I think it'll be a close one, but I think that Winnipeg gonna probably take a step back this year anyway. And if they do in fact get to face Comrie, I think the Kraken get it.
Yep. Have you tabulated the record yet?
Yeah,
Okay, cool. What are you at after this game?
4-4.
Okay. 4-4-0. Yep. I'm
Yep.
at, I'm at 5-2-1.
Okay.
So pretty hot start here.
Yeah.
Of course, it's about to cool down because they're coming back home and facing Edmonton to start the homestand. Dylan, it's the Oilers. I don't think I need to say a whole lot more. I think this will be a McDavid game. I'll go 3 points for him. The Oilers predictions are always super easy because you just say, okay, how many points for McDavid or Draisaitl? So I'm going to go 3 points for Connor McDavid.
See, I don't think it's gonna be a big game for the Oilers because the Oilers have Vancouver the next day. And so I think that, whenever you go into those back to backs, there's always there's a part of you thinking ahead to that next game, especially if you're playing a team that you don't really treat that seriously, like the Kraken, maybe if you're the Oilers. And so I think that Edmonton will win, but I think it's going to be because they have to come back in this game. Like I think it'll be one of those like 2-1 going into the third, and then the Oilers are like, oh yeah, okay, let's actually take care of business here, and then they finish it out and they win like 3-2 at the end.
Okay. McDavid could still get 3 points in that scenario, but
He
yeah.
could, yes.
All right. So a couple days off then for the Kraken, and they continue their long homestand. And by the way, yeah, 5-game homestand they're on now. This is game 2, October 28th against Montreal. And I think this one's going to be interesting because this is game number 10 of the season.
Hmm.
So I'm going to predict a Kraken win because it's Montreal. That's not, too revolutionary here. But I think Catton will have been sent down after the Edmonton game. I think he'll get his 9 games, not play number 10. He won't be with the Kraken anymore. But with that, Yanni Newman will get called up. This is kind of in line with your season opener prediction.
Hmm.
Newman will get called up. He'll play his first game of the season for the Kraken, and he'll score against Montreal.
You stealing it, man. I like Yanni Newman to score a power play goal
Okay.
against
There you go. You can
Montreal
add that.
there. The one thing is I don't know that Catton will be sent down yet because I don't know that Catton will have played in all 9 games.
Right.
Because of the road trip and because of like games like Edmonton, I could see them stretching out Berkeley Catton so that he lasted through this whole homestand, and his 9th game is November 5th against San Jose. Because you don't care if he's not in Spokane that little bit, right?
Yeah.
He doesn't need those games. It's more important that he's around the team. And so I think that they'll actually call up Yanni Newman a little bit sooner, and they'll have them alternate out for some of these games, some of the tougher ones. I don't know how that works as a thing. I guess when we get to the San Jose game, my big prediction will be that'll be Catton's last game. I actually think they're going to lose to Montreal here. I think
Okay.
they split with Montreal. They each take a game in each other's city. But I think Montreal is actually a good team, especially with Noah Dobson now. I think that they're going to be more challenging for the Kraken, and I think the Kraken will just struggle against them at home.
Yeah, I think they'll do fairly well this season. I just think the Kraken tend to match up well against them. So next they play the New York Rangers at home on November 1st. So we're turning the calendar to November. The Rangers will be a tough one for them. They've had Edmonton the previous day. So, on the second half of back-to-back with a fair amount of travel from Edmonton to Seattle. But I think because of that, I think the Kraken will avoid Igor Shesterkin.
Yep.
I think Jonathan Quick, still their
Yeah.
backup. I think he's going to let in 4+. I think he's going to have a kind of a rough game. He's getting old.
Mhm.
And I think Capo Caco is going to score against his former team in a Kraken win.
Oh, wow. Going for a lot of predictions there because I was just gonna say, yeah, you don't have to
And
push
don't
a
just give me
circuit;
it
it's a win.
yeah, yeah. Chuck, only give me a point if I get all of these right.
Okay, okay, there you go. Yeah, I mean, I was thinking that yeah, this one feels like a win just because you're gonna get Jonathan Quick. I think this is the year Jonathan Quick really kind of slows down significantly, and yeah, no, I'm liking the win prediction. I won't go further than that though.
Okay. So next November 3rd against Chicago. So I mean, Dylan, I'll beat you to it here. I think the Kraken win this one. Chicago is
Agree.
not very good. I do think Berkey will get a point though. I talked about that in some
Yeah.
previous episode about which former Kraken could score against him. I think Berkey will get a point, but it'll be in a loss that's not close.
Yeah, I think this is the year that they're going to finally be able to kind of beat up on Chicago in a way that they probably always should have. Um, it's I'm trying to
You
think
just
of
need to be focused.
exactly. I'm trying to think. I think I'll say Berkey's point comes on a Bedard goal.
Okay. That's a solid prediction there.
Yeah,
So next is November 5th to close out the homestand. Now, Dylan, I know you think this will be Berkeley Catton's last
yeah.
game this season for the Kraken. I'm going to go with a win over San Jose. I think they close out the homestand strong. I think I have them going 4-1 on the homestand now, and I think this one's not even going to be close. I think Kraken lead 3-0 after the first period and just never look back.
See, this game for me, I think is going to be close. I'm going to give the edge to the Kraken. I think that the Kraken will get it, but I think that the game is going to be close and will be, barring an empty net, a 1 goal game.
Okay. All right. That would be more exciting, I think. So I'm realizing after this homestand, I have the Kraken at 9-3-1 to start
Yeah,
the
I was gonna
season.
say you're very optimistic this year. I have them at 7-6, which again, like it feels after these last 2 seasons, like that's a little optimistic, but you're in a whole different like stratosphere.
I mean, one thing I'm realizing is just that I don't know. I feel like they got a lot of easy games early on in the schedule. Like they or
Mhm.
games against opponents that should be beatable. And I guess I have them just kind of edging it toward they beat the teams they should. And if Lambert has them focused, I think they will.
Yeah, I think the interesting thing is going to be the Lane Lambert system. I think it's going to make them more competitive, but I also think like when it comes to like scoring predictions and stuff, we're going to see a lot lower scoring games than what we saw last year, right? And I'm that's kind of giving me pause when it comes to some of those kinds of extra predictions because I think this is a team that's going to win a lot of games like 3-2.
Yeah. No, I think that's fair. And so you're going to have a lot of close games, maybe a lot of OT games. I still only have one OTL. You have zero. Um, so that'll
Yeah.
be interesting to see. But I mean, here, okay, we'll start it off here. Now they go back on the road for a short 2-game road trip, November 8th and 9th, and it is back to backs. So on the first half of the back to back, they are in St. Louis. And I think this one's going to be a low scoring game. I think Joey Decord and Jordan Binnington put on a show, and it's going to be close. It's going to be low scoring, but the Kraken are going to lose in regulation. I think a costly penalty will cost them the game. St. Louis scores on a power play. Nothing Joey can really do about it, and the Kraken take the L here.
I was gonna say this could very well come down to whoever gets the last power play kind of scenario. Um, oh, it's tough. I think the Kraken can win this one. I'm gonna give
Okay.
them the win, and I'll build out a nice little 4 game win streak for them.
There you go. Nice 4-game win streak. So now, though, Dylan, they're in the second half of back to back. I know they've struggled with this. They go from St. Louis to Dallas.
Yeah, that win
Tough match.
streak. That win streak stops at 4. they, they,
Now,
they lose
Dallas, I
this
will
one.
say it's a back to back for Dallas as well. They'll have played Nashville the previous day. So both teams coming off travel, both teams coming off the back to back. And you know what? I have to go with this because I want this as a theme. I think the Kraken are going to be focused because it's the second half of back to back, because it's a challenge. We see they get up for good opponents in situations. Well, maybe not the back to back situation, but we're in situations where they do lock in. I think there is no reason the Kraken should win this on paper. But I think because of that, they will. It's just weird, right? I think at least here's my prediction. I think at least two of Ottinger, Rantanen, Robertson, or Heiskanen will be out for this game. I think
At
you'll,
least
you'll probably,
2.
yeah, because I think you'll probably avoid Ottinger. I don't know.
Yeah,
You'll probably avoid
I
Ottinger just because
agree.
the back to back thing, right? And then one of their top players will be out because the Kraken just tend to get good opponent injury luck. So I think that's the path to winning this. The Stars will have somebody out injured.
They're not winning this one.
All right, fair.
I agree they're not going to go over on the back-to-backs, but I haven't seen one where the Kraken it makes sense for the Kraken to win. The Washington one, I'll give you. They play Washington close. I could very easily be wrong on that one. This one though, I don't see how they're winning it. Even if the
This
Dallas is missing two of those guys, I don't know how you're winning it.
All right. Well, this is one of those hockey makes no sense picks where I'm just going to
Yeah.
say there should be no chance.
Yeah, no,
hockey
they
making
they
it
of
win.
course they happen over the course of the season. It's just it's tough to predict now.
Yep. So then they do get one day off before coming back home for 3-game homestand. Next is November 11th against Columbus. Now, Columbus will have, man, that same rough back to back that the Rangers had. They'll have Edmonton the previous day. Then they're coming into Seattle, probably getting in pretty late. And so I think the Kraken are going to win this one. I think it'll be closer than it needs to be, but I'll give them a shootout win here against Columbus.
I think this one's not going to be that close because Columbus has just had to deal with the Oilers the previous day, and they're going to be a little shell shocked from that performance. I think this could potentially be like the first big margin of victory game for the Kraken this season, outside of maybe that road game in Philadelphia. I'm thinking like this feels like the kind of game for like a Yanni Newman Hattie. You know what I
Ooh,
mean?
okay. I like
Like
that.
if you're able to get some penalty luck, I think it depends on the penalties. If you're able to get like 3 power play chances, I think Yanni Newman could really go off in this game. He'll have been around now for a couple games. He knows he's hanging around for the rest of the season. He's going to start getting comfortable. Home game, you can put him in some good spots there. I think this is a good Yanni Newman game.
Okay, that's fun. I like that prediction. See, I have the Kraken maybe coming down a little bit from that big win in Dallas, which of course you do not have happening. So I don't know. I would probably trade, make that trade where they lose the Dallas game, but Newman gets a hat trick at home against Columbus. I
Yeah.
think your outcome is better.
All right, going into hosting, I should say, Winnipeg the next day. I think the Kraken are able to get the win against Winnipeg earlier in the year. This one though, Hellebuck's going to start, and he's going to do his thing. He's going to be strong. It's early season Hellebuck. The Kraken are going to try to get in his face. They're going to try to do what was successful against Comrie. They're going to have Marchment, Kako, Schwartz all in and around the net, but it's not going to matter because Connor Hellebuck's going to be the difference maker.
Okay, so I had the Kraken losing to Winnipeg earlier. I will have them losing again to Winnipeg. I think it's gonna be close. I'll go 4-3 regulation loss, but I will say I think Hellebuck starts as we both predicted, but I think he's gonna look average. Like he's gonna look beatable. He's never that good when I'm watching him.
Yeah, that's fine.
All right. So next is my birthday game, Dylan.
Mm-hmm.
November 15th against the San Jose Sharks. Very
Did you
fitting.
plan that? Did you ask for that? Did you write a letter to Gary and you were like, "Hey man,
Well, I have well, I guess yeah, not to any league people, but I have kind of vocally complained about how the Kraken always seem to face the Sharks like the day before Thanksgiving or the day after Thanksgiving.
Mhm.
So at least it's a little bit earlier there. It's a game I can make and not have to worry about Thanksgiving family travel. So I have to pick a Kraken win here. I think the Kraken are going to win at home on my birthday. I think it's going to be a low scoring game. I'll go 2-1 win. It's going to be kind of boring. I think Askarov is going to have a good game, but the Kraken edge this one out in regulation.
I think this is where the Kraken drop one in overtime." I'm
You would do
sorry.
that to me, Dylan?
Look, it's one of the game on the 5th or the game on the 15th. I've watched this team play the Sharks at home several times. They can't win both of these games. They just can't. Okay? They should.
You're probably
They
right.
absolutely
but
should. But I don't think that they can. I think this is the one. I think this one, Celebrini is the guy who shows up for your birthday, RJ, and he might have. I think he's gonna have like a multi-point performance. I'm even wondering if he gets a couple goals in it
Okay, there you go. Macklin Celebrini for my birthday
to
celebration.
celebrate. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, yeah.
It just
Okay,
works,
fair.
RJ.
It does. It does. All right. All right. Well, I'll definitely keep a close eye on how that game goes. I
Yeah.
think we'll all be thinking about that. So, that's the end of that homestand. Now they go on the road for a 4-game road trip. And November 18th, they are going to Detroit. That's a 4 o'clock game here. And you know what? I think the Kraken are going to be rusty after a couple days off and the travel and all that stuff. I think Detroit takes a 2-0 first period lead. The Kraken do claw back, but I think they ultimately fall just short and lose in regulation.
This one's really tough because Detroit's not very good.
They're not.
They're
No.
not. I don't know. I think the Kraken could do it. I think they're gonna do it.
You think so? I'm just so scarred by that game in Detroit last year
Yeah,
where they went down like 4-0 8 minutes in.
it's true. Yeah, that's true. I see. I'm back and forth because I want to say I'm so used to thinking that they'll lose the next game in Chicago because they just
Mhm.
never win in Chicago, but they can't do that this year. Um, but then they're better than Pittsburgh, on par with the Islanders. They got to lose at some
E-
point on this road trip. They're not going perfect on the road trip. All right, you had me talk myself into them losing in Detroit.
Yeah, there you go. I think I was looking at this road trip too and thinking, man, there's a lot of potential wins out there. They got to lose somewhere, so we'll both go with the loss
Yeah,
there. So in a couple days, then at Chicago, November 20th, Dylan, I think the Kraken win, and it's
I do
not
too.
close.
I do
Chicago
too.
sucks. I'll say I think Frank Nazar gets a garbage time goal just because I like him.
Okay, sounds good. I was gonna say I think the Ryan Donato is gonna score and like keep the game close for like 20 minutes. That'll be
Oh,
that.
fair.
Like
Okay.
maybe Donato opens the scoring and then the Kraken kind of take over from there.
Yep. All right. So next, November 22nd at Pittsburgh.
Mhm.
Dylan, what is Crosby gonna do? What's your prediction here? Of course, I have a Kraken win. I think the Penguins are actually going to outplay the Kraken, but Joey's going to steal it.
That's very much the vibes, right? Like the Kraken have the goaltending in the way Pittsburgh just doesn't. And I think that matters. I think the Kraken are also going to have the better D just because they're going to play more structured than Pittsburgh's going to. And they probably have a deeper blue line than the Penguins right now. This feels like the kind of game where, yeah, Sidney Crosby puts on a clinic beating up whoever the Kraken throw out there down the middle, and he'll probably get like a power play assist on somebody's goal. But I don't think it's going to matter because I think the goaltending will let Pittsburgh down. So I think the Kraken take it.
All right. And then this is the first half of a back to back. Second half at New York Islanders. Dylan, you have to pick this
I am.
as a win on the second half of back to backs. Come on. You can't have them start 0-3 with this being the third one.
Correct. No, this one makes a lot of sense. It's kind of an odd start time, 2 p.m. Pacific, but I think that the Islanders are awful. They're a
Yeah.
bad team. I think Sorokin keeps the game close, and I think the fact that it's an odd start time keeps it close. But the Kraken are winning this one.
Yeah. I think we
5-3.
have a. Okay. Oh, never. I was going to say, I thought we had a similar vision for this, but I think it's going to be low scoring. I think it's going to be ugly and it's going to be kept close by the goaltending. But I think it's going to be I'll go a shootout win for the Kraken. Low scoring shootout
Oh,
win.
it's
And
not
I'll
going
go with,
overtime.
okay, I'll go with Freddie Gaudreau with the shootout winner also.
Okay.
Because I need to pick a shootout goal
I
for
was
him
gonna say
somewhere.
the 5-3 thing doesn't make a lot of sense for an early start. None of those games ever turn into that, but I don't think it'll be close.
Okay. Now, Dylan, can we do a quick record check here? Because I'm looking at the record I have for the Kraken at this point.
Is it
They're 15-6-1.
that's a hot start for the Kraken.
It's incredible.
I have 12-9-1.
Okay. I mean, yours would be,
Feels
I think, incredibly optimistic. I don't
yeah,
know what I'm thinking.
I'm feeling pretty optimistic. Again, though, this is an incredible start to the season. Like from a strength of schedule standpoint.
Yeah,
Like
there's a
like
lot of
you've
opportunity
got
to bank points early.
right, because you're talking 2 games against Montreal, 2 games against Chicago, 2 games against San Jose already. That's pretty good. You also got Pittsburgh, the Islanders in there. Philly one of these games. Ottawa's going to be, interesting. Anaheim. I mean, I'm just looking for teams that were playoff teams last year that the Kraken play through these first 22 games, which is what we've done. And you've got what 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 games against playoff opponents in the first
Out of
22.
22,
It's not a lot.
yeah, I mean, they really could bank points early. I think it's going to be so important for Lane Lambert to get his team ready to play and the systems down early. I know, remember last season we said with Dan, or Dan said, kind of takes about 20 games,
Yep.
right, for everything to get down. I don't think the Kraken can afford to have just kind of 20 games where it's iffy because you need to take advantage of this right away, given
Yeah.
what the schedule is.
Yeah.
So 22 games in, we both have them doing pretty darn well. So let's go on to game number 23, though, as we see Dallas.
Dallas, Edmonton, Edmonton for the next three. Yeah, this is where
Yeah.
reality sets in, I think, a little bit.
Yeah, I think we're both probably going to have reality setting in here. I think the Kraken are not going to beat Dallas again.
They're not beating
I
Dallas.
think they're going to be healthier now. They're going to get back whoever they didn't have in that earlier game that I predicted. And yeah, they're going to win this one pretty handily.
I agree. Dallas takes this one. I mean, I could do. I don't know if you have like special thoughts on this, but I was gonna say I could do the next three pretty quick here.
Yeah, no, I can too. Well, I mean, the next two are at home against Edmonton and then on the road against Edmonton. Like 4 or 5 days later? They got a little break here.
Yeah, I think that they lose against Dallas. The Edmonton game's a matinee game. The Kraken are going to be bad in that one. Edmonton's going to beat up on them. That's the McDavid game right there. Edmonton
Okay.
1 o'clock start. Are you kidding me? In Seattle, that has McDavid and Draisaitl written all over it. But
It's going to be rough. I think Oilers score 6+.
I was gonna say they definitely get 5. Like it's the floor is 5 in that game for Edmonton. I think though that the Kraken will play then tougher in Edmonton and drop it in overtime. I think they're gonna battle them tough and lose in OTL. Get an OTL loss in Edmonton for that next one.
I think we thought pretty similarly on this. Yeah, I have an OTL also for this game. I think they're gonna not want to get humiliated again. And yeah, they'll get it to overtime, but I think McDavid and Draisaitl will somehow team up for the OT winner. That's not a bold prediction if it goes to overtime, but
yeah,
there it is.
Yeah. But I think that that's what's happening.
All right. But then they return home from their 1-game road trip to Edmonton, December 6th against Detroit. And I don't know what it is about Detroit, but I'm going to have another L here for the Kraken. I think they're going to have a letdown after the good Oilers effort that's going to come up just a little bit short. And I'll go with an interesting prediction here. If they face Sebastian Cossa for Detroit, I mean, who knows what their goalie situation is going to be, Detroit. But if they face him, they're going to get shut out.
Okay. I was gonna say Cossa. I was gonna say like over Gibson, like Cosa's starting games over like John Gibson and
goaltending's weird, man.
Yeah. All right. I think that they get the win over Detroit here. They're winning one of these two Detroit games early on. Again, I was close to taking that one on the road. I think they could definitely get a game against Detroit, so I think they're winning this one.
Okay, so a couple days later, still at home against Minnesota. And I'm going to go with another loss here. I think Minnesota beats the Kraken. I'll go Matt Boldy game winner because I like him.
Yeah, I was going to say, but he always shows up against this team, so that's a good one. I think that's going to be a Jesper Wallstad win. If we want to talk
I like that.
I like stuff, that. I think Wallstad will be in net for that game in Minnesota, and he'll pick up a W.
Nice.
Kraken won't have the book on
nice,
him.
But yeah, that's true. They certainly would not. But does he score a goal, Dylan?
No, I don't think so. I will say this: between Joey and Wallstad, there will be 0 goal attempts in that game.
Okay. If they score, you negative points. Chuck, give Dylan like massive negative points if there's a goal in that game.
Sure, I'll take it.
Okay. Now, closing out that homestand, December 10th against the LA Kings. Kraken tend to play pretty well against them. What do you think, Dylan?
They play well against them in LA. I think LA takes this one in Seattle.
Okay, I'm going to predict a Kraken win here. I think Brant Clark is going to do something, Dylan, that makes you turn to me and say, wow. But I think Kraken will win this one. Close game, but I think they'll edge it out.
Okay. Damn, I cannot help but pick this team to be 500. 13-2.
Yeah. I mean, after this little losing skid, I've got it down to 16-10-2. But yeah, no, 500 seems about right.
Yeah. Going to Utah, just a 1-game road trip here on December 12th in Utah. I mean, this team plays Utah tough. They do. I like Seattle against Utah for a home game. I'm not sure about on the road. I think they drop this one in overtime.
Okay. I think, oh man, this is tough. I think, I don't know, the 1-game road trip makes me think that it's just going to be weird and the Kraken are going to.
It's weird vibes just looking at it.
It's weird vibes. So I'm going to go regulation loss. I don't know how it's going to happen. I don't know. Can't pick a win there.
Yeah. Then 2-game homestand against the Buffalo Sabres. Gonna go ahead and say that that game goes well, and I think that's gonna be a Matty Beniers game, by the way, against his
Okay.
buddy Owen Power. I think that that's a good Matty Beniers game here.
That's a fun prediction. I'm gonna see if I can one up you here because I have a Kraken win. I mean, I think that's easy enough. I think this is the game that gets Lindy Ruff fired.
Oh, interesting. You don't think he's gone first. If he
He
is
should
not
be. He
if
should be
he's
gone
not
before
fired
this,
by
but
December 12th, he's lasting the season again.
yeah. All right. We'll see.
But
We
that I
will
like
see.
that. I would love for that to be
Okay.
the case. I would love to be
Yeah.
wrong there. I don't think I'm going to be wrong about the Kraken losing the next game hosting Colorado.
Yeah, I have a loss here too. I think it's going to be maybe closer than we think. I think it'll be one of those low scoring, Lane Lambert blueprint type games. I think Grubauer is going to play here because it's Colorado. I think he's going to play well, but the Avs are going to win it with a late goal.
Yeah, they just have no answer for that top line for Colorado. All right, now, interesting, fun West Coast road trip here. Kicking things off December 18th in Calgary, RJ. How do you think this game goes?
I think here I have a couple of predictions. I think Riker Evans is going to score hometown game.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're all going to get mad at Pospisil again. He's going to do something,
Mm-hmm.
but I think the Kraken are going to lose this one in regulation.
Okay. All right. I think the Kraken are going to win this one. I think they play well in Calgary. I think they're close games, and I think nothing bad will happen this time. And that's a good thing. And so I think the Kraken are going to take this one in Calgary. Next up, RJ, going down to the Shark Tank. Third game against the San Jose Sharks already this season. Kraken don't have a great history in San Jose.
Yeah, they do not, and I can't I can't pick them to win after winning the first two, the ones at home. I can't pick another win against the Sharks. I think this is where it kind of goes awry. But I will say I'll give it an OTL. I think they're going to lose in overtime. It's going to be closer than it needs to be, and I think Michael Misa overtime winner from Celebrini, and it is going to be a beauty.
Yeah, see, it's one of those things where like I think for this 4-game road trip they go 2-2, but I could
Mhm.
easily see the wins and losses happening in any of these barns. But for the purposes of this exercise, I'm going to say that they drop the game in San Jose, and then I
Okay.
think they drop it the next game 2 nights later in Anaheim as well.
Okay. I also have them losing this game in Anaheim. Now it's the first of back-to-backs here.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think with them doing better on the second half of back-to-backs, I think they're going to lose on the first half a little bit more often.
Mm-hmm.
But I think at this point too, like, because the Kraken played the Ducks in their very first game, and I think the Ducks kind of won't have figured things out yet. But I think by this point, the Ducks will be on a heater. Like
Yep.
Quenville will have them playing better.
Yep.
I mean, really, just the lack of their old coach will have them playing better. So I think the Ducks will be on a heater and they win this one.
I agree. And Seattle struggles in Anaheim for some reason. There's no good reason for it, but I've been at a lot of those games and they struggle. They do not struggle, however, at Crypto.com Arena. And so I think, because again, I said this road trip will be a 2-2 road trip. I think the Kraken beat LA in LA.
Okay. Now I have the Kraken losing this one too. I think the back-to-back win streak ends because I have them winning the second half of back-to-backs, times where they probably shouldn't. And I think if they steal those games, this is the one that gets away from them. They lose this one on the second half of back-to-back. And I think at this point, I think I have the Kraken, that's their fifth straight loss. And I think at this point, we kind of start to question if the Kraken are falling back down to earth. I have them now at 17, 15, and 3.
Okay,
So
I'm at
now we're
16,
kind of at the
16, and
point.
3, so we're coming
Okay.
together there.
Yeah. And I think at this point, after 5 straight losses, Bottrell goes out and acquires a forward via trade. He goes out and trades for a forward.
Wow, over the Christmas break.
He gets it in right before the Christmas break.
Okay, because this LA game's on the 23rd. Next game
That's true.
is
Yeah,
hosting Philly on the 28th. So
Okay.
there is time in there to reflect on the roster and maybe see something.
Yeah. When was the Kako trade?
Kako trade was earlier in December, I want to say.
December 18th.
Yeah, it was a little
so
bit earlier.
slightly earlier. Okay.
So yeah, I think they can, and LA is also coming off of a back-to-back. They play the previous day in against Utah. I think that if LA could start whoever's better in their rotation against Utah, we get the backup, versus if you're Seattle, you're probably starting Grubauer in Anaheim and then Decord in LA. And I think that that makes the difference there, and the Kraken take that game in LA. All right, coming out of the Christmas break, get the Flyers at home.
What a get right game.
What an incredible game. That's a good one for the Kraken there. It's a win. Book it.
Yep, same here. I think it's a get right game. I think you're going to get some awful goaltending from Philly. Maybe it's just based on stuff I've seen last year, but like awful goaltending. The starter's going to get pulled, and you know what? I think the new forward they trade for, he's going to score a goal.
Yeah, totally fair. I think Kraken get the win there. Next day, back to backs at home here. Get Vancouver coming into town, RJ. And this one's a little tougher because I think this game comes down to whether or not Quinn Hughes is healthy. I think if Quinn Hughes is healthy, this is an OTL for the Kraken. If Quinn Hughes is not healthy, it's a win for the Kraken. I don't
Well,
know
here's
what
the
to
thing.
do with that.
Yeah, I think he's not going to be healthy. Either him or Pedersen, one of those two are going to be out. And so I have it as a Kraken win here. Also, second half of a back to back, but I don't think they're going to be phased. It's light work against Philly the night before, not that much travel. I think they're going to win this one.
I don't like predicting injuries, so I'll say Quinn Hughes is healthy and it's an OTL for the Kraken. Um,
Okay.
all right. A couple days
So,
later. Oh,
real quick record check, though, because now we're crossing over from 2025 to 2026.
as we cross the hour mark of the podcast.
Okay, well, never mind. Let's just keep going.
No, I'm just letting you know. It's 17, 16, and 4.
Okay. I got 19, 15, and 3. All right, we're getting closer.
Yep. All right, Nashville, January 1st. First day of back-to-backs. Kraken are going to have to go to Vancouver the next day, RJ. That being said, Nashville's not very good, and Nashville's coming off of a back-to-back playing Vegas the previous night. I think this is a good opportunity for the Kraken.
Yeah, I agree. I think Kraken win this. Probably Grubauer getting the start here. I think he's going to outplay probably Justus Anonen or whatever for Nashville, and the Kraken get the win.
I think that I have it the other way. I think that they potentially start Decord for that game because it's the home game,
Oh, actually,
and
yeah.
and then they start Grubauer on the road the next day in Vancouver, and I think the Kraken drop that game.
All right. Well, I think the Kraken dropped that game as well.
Yeah.
It's the harder of the two.
Yeah, I think they go 1-1 in those. And then on the road to Calgary, RJ, what are we thinking for this game in Calgary? I had them winning the one, the previous month. What about you?
Yeah, I had them losing the one in the previous month, but I feel like this is Dustin Wolf masterclass. Somehow he's going to steal this one, and the Kraken lose in regulation.
See, I also think that this one's interesting because do you go back to back? Like which goalie do you start? Because if you're Seattle, you play Boston at home the next night.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm really split on which goalie gets the start here because, like I said, I think they maybe go Joey Decord against Nashville and then Grubauer on the road. Do I think then they would go back to back Grubauer games and have Grubauer in Calgary? I don't think so. I think they start Joey Decord in Calgary. I don't think it matters though. I think they still lose that game in Calgary.
Yeah, I feel like they'd still just want to give Joey the home games,
Mm-hmm. It's
and
possible.
also
Yeah.
Give Joey Boston.
Yeah, I think giving Joey Boston is a good call. That being said, I think they lose that game against Boston.
I think they lose in overtime. I think it's going to be one of the more exciting games of the year, just because those Kraken Bruins games are always exciting. But I think I'll say Pasternak wins it in overtime.
And with that, I believe, for the first time all season, the Kraken falling below 500.
Ooh, okay. I'm still at 27.
January 6th.
January 6th. Okay. I'm still at 2017-4, so still treading water here.
Yep.
Next, January 8th, Minnesota at home. I think Kraken win this one. I think you have another overtime game, back-to-back overtime games. Vince Dunn, I'll say, with the OT winner. And
Yeah.
I feel like, random thought, I feel like we get a good quote from this game, like
Okay.
after the game.
Okay. Against Minnesota. This one's tough. This one's really tough because I'm trying to think of scenarios in which they can beat Minnesota, and I'm not coming up with a lot. But at the same time, it feels weird to predict a big losing streak, but I just don't think they can beat Minnesota. And I think that's their fourth loss in a row.
Oof. Okay, that is tough. I feel like they're going to just generally do better at home. I think a lot of the losses are going to take are on the road, but that's just a general feeling. All right. Well, speaking of the road, though, going out onto the road for a 5-game road trip in January, January 10th at Carolina. This is a loss.
It's a
I mean,
loss, yeah.
I think the Kraken are going to get outshot by a lot. I'll say 2 goals from Nikolai Ehlers.
Okay, that's a good prediction there. Yeah, I'm with you. I think that's a loss, and that makes 5 in a row for the Kraken in my
Yeah.
timeline.
All right. When does the losing streak end for you, Dylan? Is it the 12th at New York Rangers?
No. I think this is going to be that brutal stretch that really, you know, pulls the Kraken back down to like kind of where they should be.
Yeah, I kind of see it that way too. I think it's a loss against the Rangers. Now the 14th at New Jersey.
I think they get the win there. I think New Jersey's going to be a little bit of a hot mess this season, and I think the Kraken are due for one, and so they pick it up.
Okay. I think this is a loss for the Kraken. I don't think Jack Hughes is going to get a point. He's going to disappear when you're watching, but I think their defensemen are going to score a couple goals.
That's totally fair. And then next day, back to back in Boston, I think the Kraken can win that one as well.
Yeah, I think I have a win for them too. I feel it feels just like a get right game after what we both think is, well, not actually not both of us, but I think is 3 losses right before this.
Yep. And then interesting matinee, 2 o'clock start in Utah. That game's got again bad vibes written all
Really
over it.
bad vibes.
Terrible vibes, but you know what? I'll give the W to the Kraken.
Okay, well I'm going lost because the vibes seem bad. And you know what? I think someone's going to get hurt too.
Yeah, it absolutely feels that way. Like it totally feels that way.
Yeah.
All right, so coming home for a nice little home stand here. Get
6 games.
Yeah, nice bit of home games here. First one against Pittsburgh. Again, 2 o'clock start. What is with these matinee games? These are sketchy games. That being said, I think the Kraken they turn streaky in the new year. I think they bring it up to 4 in a row and get back to 500 here.
Okay, I think they win this one too. I think Sidney Crosby scores just for you, Dylan, but it's the
Okay.
Penguins' only goal of the game.
I'll take it. I'll take it. Um, the Islanders 2 nights later. I think that's another win for the Kraken.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah, the Islanders aren't that good.
No, I think they lose to Anaheim then. I think Anaheim's going to be able to come in and win that game on the 23rd. I don't know if you have a prediction for that one.
I do. I think the Ducks pass the Kraken in the standings with this win.
That's a good call. Oh, I like that one a lot. Give him
So
2
that's
points
my
if that
prediction.
one hits. I like that.
Okay.
I'll throw that one out there because I can't just say ditto.
Yeah.
And then New Jersey.
1 p.m. start.
1 p.m. start against New Jersey. I don't love that.
Nope. I think this is a loss.
Yep.
Just it's going to be sloppy.
Yep. I think though they rebound the next game on the 27th against Washington and they pick up a W there for me.
Okay, I'm going OTL here. I mean, I had the improbable win against Washington earlier in the season, so I'll go OTL here. I think Ovechkin doesn't score for you to see that in person, unfortunately, but I'll go Chikrin OT winner. I try and pick the OT winners for the overtime games.
I got my OV win, my OV goal last year.
Oh, that's right, you did. You did. All right, you've seen it. It's fine.
It's fine. And then Toronto comes to town. It's the first game of a road trip for Toronto. Last game of the homestand for the Kraken. Toronto's just a better team.
They are. Yeah, I think they dominate special teams, especially too. They're
Yeah.
going to do well there.
Yep. All right. So we're looking at January 31st now. I have the Kraken back at 500, 24, 24, and 4.
I have them at 20. Wait, I have 24, 24, and 5. Have I miscounted this?
Oh, I must have miscounted because that was game 53. So somewhere in here I miscounted. That's how did I miscount? I don't know. I'll figure it out while you talk about this road game in Vegas.
Yeah, well, I mean, look, I think it's a road game in Vegas. I think it's not going to go all that well. I'll have another multi-point game for Mitch Marner. I just think he's going to feast against the Kraken this year. And with that, I have the Kraken falling below 500 for the first time all season on January 31st at 24, 25, and 5. And then a few days off before then. Actually, I guess you need to give your Vegas prediction, but can I give you more time to count?
They're losing to Vegas. I'd missed a loss, by the way, so I had them at 24, 25, and 4, but they're losing in Vegas.
Okay, so next at Anaheim, February 3rd, and I got OTL for this one. I think it's the first half of back-to-backs, so they're going Anaheim, LA. I think Grubauer gets this game, and I think he has a rough game here. Ducks win a high-scoring overtime game, and Grubauer probably has one or two he wants back.
I'm with you. The OTLs against Anaheim they just feel real.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
In a way. I like that. I'm with you there. Another game in LA. And again,
Yep. Second half of back-to-backs. It's the final game before the Olympic break.
Right. And this team plays good in LA. I'm booking another win in LA.
I have another win too, and I think it's going to be a Joey shutout. He gets a shutout. I'm not going to go as far as to predict that he goes and takes off and goes to the Olympics for Team USA, but I think he gets a shutout. Big bounce back game.
Yeah, I like that. I like that. That's a good one there. And then I have them going into the Olympic break 25, 26, and 5.
I have 25, 25, and 6. I have them going to the Olympics at exactly 500.
Okay. Hey, and you know what? I would so take this.
Yeah,
I would take this.
I would too. Certainly the hot start that I have built in.
Yeah, I would take this. Yeah, maybe in your timeline people aren't feeling as great about it because the hot start's gone, but I'm liking this. All right, coming out of the break, a nice easy 21 days later, RJ, kick things off in Dallas. It's not going well for the Kraken.
No, they're going to be sloppy after the time off. I think probably more Stars players will have gone to the Olympics and will have been more in the swing of things. So yeah, loss here.
Yep, I agree. And then St. Louis the next night. I think that can go a little bit better for them. And I'll give them the win.
Yeah, I'll give them the win too, mostly because the Kraken will have played the night before, and St. Louis will be their first game after the Olympic break. I think the Kraken are going to pounce on that early. They're going to look like the better team early on.
Yep. And then hosting Vancouver, hosting those Canucks, RJ, on the 28th. How do you think that one's going to go? Because again, I'm all the games against Vancouver, I'm always so split, and it's all just around Quinn Hughes.
Yeah, I mean, he makes a big difference. But I think in this one, I think we're going to be at this time of the season where Vancouver is going to start to fall apart. And so I think Kraken win here. I think Demko's going to have a stinker. Kraken will score like 5 on under 30 shots on goal. It's going to be rough for Vancouver.
Interesting. Yeah. I'll give them the win. Sure.
Okay.
That one's a tough one. That one's a tough one though.
It is. I don't know what's going to happen on that one. But March 2nd, Carolina at home, game 2 of a 6-game long homestand, tied for the longest of the season. What are you thinking for that one?
Carolina will take this one. I think they play so well on the road, Carolina, and the Kraken have no way of dealing with Rod Brindamore's system ever. They just run into it like just a log running into a chainsaw.
Yeah. I think Joey will make over 40 saves, but it's not going to matter.
No, I agree. I think though, then this next little bit is going to be a good little spell for the Kraken here, RJ, and it starts off with St. Louis on the 4th. I think that's a win.
Yeah, I think that's a win also. Also, by the way, we should mention the trade deadline probably after that next game against Ottawa. Like they'll be approaching the trade deadline. And I think it's game 61 of the season against St. Louis. I think McCann scores his 30th goal of the season. In that game. And trade chatter heats up.
Good prediction there. I like that. Yeah, I think they take that one against St. Louis. And then I also think they take the next one against Ottawa.
I think so too. Yeah, no, I think they play better against Ottawa here. And if that is when like their final game before the trade deadline, which I think it will be, I think they go into it on a win. Is it enough to get Bottrill to do anything? I have them at 29, 27, and 6.
Yeah, it's a tough one, right? Because like we both have them right around 500, right? And being around 500 for a little bit of time here. You have all those contracts expiring on the books. It makes sense long term to sell. I don't know that they'll feel like they can though.
Well, looking at previous years, there'd be about 5, 6, 7 points out of a playoff spot at this point.
Right. The question is, do I think that they add? I just don't trust that they will.
No. I think Bottrill here. I'm going to predict Bottrill knows what he has to do. I think Tolvanen's going to be gone, Schwartz gone, Alexiak gone. I think they're going to re-sign like Marchment and or Eberle.
Hmm.
But I think in those trades that send, your Tolvin and Schwartz and Alexiak out, you're going to have a couple young roster players coming back that will slot into the lineup right away. And so
Uh,
that way you can be like, well, we're getting younger. We're not totally selling off, keep a couple young, exciting guys coming.
I think we see a move or two, but I think, yeah, I don't think they're gonna get better. We'll say
Yeah.
at the trade
Yeah, no, I don't
deadline.
think they will either.
Yeah. Okay, that was the Ottawa game,
March
correct?
10th,
Yep.
Nashville. Yeah.
Yeah.
Should be first game after the deadline.
Yeah, first game after the deadline. I like this one for the Kraken against Nashville just because I just don't like Nashville.
Yeah. And I think they're going to rally around. I think one of the trade acquisition forwards is going to score.
Okay. And then Kraken are going to get stomped by Colorado 2 days later.
Yep. Agreed. I think an Avs trade deadline acquisition player is going to score.
Ooh, that would be fun. All right. Then in Vancouver for this next one. And you know what? I think this is the win, and I'm going to take that Vancouver home game and make it the L that I wanted it to be earlier.
Okay. Go ahead, do that. Yep. And I think this is a win for the Kraken. I think the Canucks will sell at the deadline. They'll be in free fall. It's all going to be falling apart for Vancouver.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I have them at 30, 30, and 5. Are you kidding me?
31,
I'm not
28,
doing this on purpose. I promise I am not doing this on purpose. I do not just think that they are a 500, like predict 500 because that's just the way things go.
All right. Well, let's test it here. Second half of a back-to-back against the defending two-time Stanley Cup champion Florida Panthers. How's that one going to go?
Well, they play Florida close, dude. Like they always
do.
play Florida close. Florida's got the second half of the back-to-back. They probably give Bob the start in Vancouver and not in Seattle, I would think.
Well, it's Seattle that had the game.
Oh, it's Seattle that has the. Oh, okay. Then Florida's taking this one all day. Forget that.
I'm going to go Kraken win. I think
Okay.
the Panthers will be dealing with injuries, and I think they'll have at least one star player on LTIR, and they'll be just in playoff mode. They'll be saving it for the playoffs.
I don't think that matters. I think they're still that much better than the Kraken. I think
mean, they are, but
yes. I think the same will be said when they then host Tampa 2 days later. Oh, every Tampa game at Climate Pledge Arena is the worst game of the year from like
It's
an enjoyability standpoint. It is just the most miserable game. That trend will continue and Tampa will win it.
Yeah, I'll say Vasilevsky shutout.
That feels very safe. I think go
Yep.
for it. All right, and then a nice was this 6-game road trip for the Kraken.
Just what they need.
Yep, starting things off in Nashville. I think that one's gonna be a tough one. I think Nashville gets revenge for the game prior. The game at the start of the month versus this game against Nashville, that's going to be a split. I think I had Seattle taking that first one at home. I think Nashville takes this one at home.
Agreed. I think Nashville takes this one. So then the 21st at Columbus, 2:00 game. That one also seems to have bad vibes to me.
It does. That feels like somebody's going to get hurt.
Yeah. I'm saying I think it'll be a Grubauer start and a bad one. Columbus scores at least 5.
Oh, damn. I think the Kraken will actually get to take it. I think it's going to be a bad game, but I think the Kraken can win. I think the Kraken, that's going to be the difference between last year and this year. The bad, messy games, the Kraken can come out on top more often this year because of Lane Lambert's system.
Okay. Interesting. So now they go to Florida.
Yep.
On the 24th. And I do think Florida's going to be in playoff mode, but no, they're going to avenge the Kraken win in Seattle here. I'm going to say Tkachuk hat trick. He'll be fresh.
Okay.
I probably missed the start of the season.
I think the Kraken get the W in Florida.
Okay, you have it reversed.
Yep, I have it reversed. I think they play better in Florida. It's like an LA situation. They can't beat LA in Seattle, but you know where they can beat LA? In LA all the time. And I think it's the same with the Florida Panthers. I think Kraken go in, and that's when Florida is going to really be kind of entering playoff mode. Whatever trade deadline piece they have will be settled in. And they'll figure it out where in the lineup they slot in, and they're just going to start the cruise now. And I think that the Kraken could go in there and take that one.
All right. I'm guessing you're not feeling as optimistic about the next one in Tampa.
Not at all. Not at all. They're losing that game against Tampa.
Yep. Going to get outclassed. And so for me now, I have them at 5 straight losses. And I think that's going to be kind of the death knell for any playoff hopes as they now For the first time all year, I have them falling below 500 in March 26th. They fall below 500 for the first time at 32, 33, and 6.
That's aggressive. That's aggressive. I like it. I like it. I have them losing to Tampa. I have them winning in Buffalo
Buffalo.
though, because why wouldn't they?
Yeah, I think so too. I think it's going to be lower scoring. Buffalo will have a newer coach that'll maybe have gotten them playing a little bit better, but Kraken are going to win.
Yep. And then finishing out the road trip in Edmonton is an automatic loss.
Yep. I think this one's going to be the Draisaitl game. 3+ points for him.
See, I think the games in Edmonton are McDavid games. The games in Seattle are Draisaitl games.
I think historically that might be correct.
Yeah, that's just the vibe and the feel I get. I think things look better though as you get into April and you host the Utah Mammoth. I think that's a win for the Kraken right there.
Yep, agreed. I think the Kraken win that one, and it's going to be a big L for Utah, who should be like right in the mix playoff wise, and that one's going to hurt.
Yep. I also think that the Kraken can pick up a W against Chicago, playing them for the third time this year.
Yep, agreed. And for my prediction here, I'm going to go with Shane Wright's first career hat trick.
Oh, that's a good one. I like that. All right.
That's the time to do it. Chicago.
Yeah, sure. 2-game road trip for the Kraken, back-to-back days. First stretch of the road trip on the back-to-back is in Winnipeg. I don't like that at all.
Yeah, I don't either. I think that's a loss. That's just going to be a deflating type of game. I think no one's going to be thrilled to go out to Winnipeg.
Yep, and I think the same can be said for the next night in Minnesota.
I think they do better.
Okay.
And you know why?
Why?
I think that's Nicholas Koko's first career win.
Oh,
I think
okay.
they'll have called him up recently. He'll have been up with the team. They'll give him that start on the back-to-back. I think Grubauer will have had a rough performance I think I predicted a couple of rough Grubauer ones. They'll have called up Koko at that point. They'll give him that start and he'll get the win.
I'm bold season prediction. I don't think we see Koko this year unless there's multiple goalie injuries.
Probably. I mean, you're probably right, but I think given at this point they're, clearly not going to make the playoffs, they give him a shot.
Yep, I like it. Then we've got Vegas at home. I think that's another loss for the team.
I'll go OTL. I think Kraken make it closer than it otherwise would be because Vegas is going to be in playoff mode. Playoffs are in like a week. They'll be ready for that.
Yep. See, I think don't want to go win here. This next game against Calgary is tough. These games against Calgary kill
I never
me,
know
man.
how to pick Calgary. Yeah.
They are so tough. They're so tough. I'll go win against Calgary here. I think Calgary might be more in the mix. They're going to be looking ahead to playing Utah the next day. That could be something for them. So I'll say that maybe they overlook the Kraken there.
I will also go win, and beyond that, I'll go Nicholas Koko first career shutout, and he's sent down the next day.
Okay. I love that.
Just to get ready for a playoff run.
I would so take that. I would love that to happen. That sounds fantastic to me.
So then LA at home on the 13th.
LA at home, that's a loss.
I think that's a win. I'll go overtime win, Shane Wright OT winner.
Okay. I have them winning all the games in LA though, so I just don't think they can beat LA at home. I think unfortunately, really they end the season on a little bit of a low point here because then they go on the road for Vegas and Colorado, and I think they drop both of those. They're back-to-backs too.
They are back-to-backs. It could be rough. I think they lose the Vegas game. I think that's a Vegas blowout, especially given I have the Kraken playing them tight the previous game. I think with that game, Vegas clinches the Pacific Division.
Okay.
And then for the Colorado game, I have a Kraken win because I think Colorado's going to have nothing to play for. They're going to rest McKinnon and Makar, and the Kraken will just cruise to a win against the Colorado team that is sitting their guys.
It's true. That could very well happen. Or it could be like an OTL kind of thing. I do like that. Should I change?
Yeah, you could change if you want. If it would prevent you from being exactly 500 2 years in a row.
No, I'm solidly below 500 at this point, so it would not change anything for me. I'm trying to see like what is this point total I have them at here. Oh no, yeah, I'll give them a win there.
Okay,
and I'll explain why in a moment when we talk about what our totals are.
Yep.
Okay, so my total now, after switching that Colorado game to a win, 37, 41, and 5.
Oh, okay.
So I have them improving by 2 games.
All right. That's not much of an
And
improvement. I feel like if that's the
an
overall picture, we
improvement
won't
of
feel
3
great.
points. 3 points in the standings.
I think we both would like to see more improvement than that. Um, now I have them at 39, 36,
Or it'd
and
be
7.
37, 40, and 5. I have to take away the
Yeah.
Colorado L.
Oh, okay. So 39, 36, and 7 is where I have them, which is a total of 85 points. So what I think a 9-point improvement over the previous season. This is kind of more of a positive look at it, but lest you think that I'm too optimistic or the more optimistic one here. I kind of gamed out roughly where that would be in the standings, based on the
Mhm.
last few years. I think they finished with the 12th best lottery odds and are the top team to not have any shot at Gavin McKenna.
That would be
Or the
so
worst team to not have
that
any
would be
shot.
so Seattle Kraken of them.
So, but they can tout the improvements and everything that, they got better.
I was gonna say,
Especially closing out the season with 3 wins in 4 games.
I was gonna say, where does 79 points put them? Because that's what I have them at.
Let's see real quick. I mean, it definitely has them with a chance at McKenna, but let's see where it would have put them last season. 79 points, you said?
Yep.
So that would have given them, I mean, it depends on the tiebreakers, but it would have put them basically where they were. It would give them the 7th best odds, or 7th or 8th, depending on if they were ahead or behind Buffalo.
Okay.
So you're looking at like 7th or 8th best odds yet again.
Yeah, and from a playoff standpoint, my 79 points puts them in the exact same spot. They would have been 7th in the conference in the wild card race. I mean, 7th in the wild card race.
So, I mean, Dylan, in your version of things, how late are the Kraken still playing meaningful games? Like how long does it go before they're like truly out of it?
Mid to late March, I
That's
think.
kind of where I have them too, like mid to late March, which I mean, that in itself would be much better than the last 2 years.
Because I have them March 12th at 30, 29, and 5. They're still technically above 500 at that point.
Okay. Yeah, and I have them 30, 28, and 6. So like that's still, if they catch fire down the stretch, like it's still possible.
Right.
It's not likely.
I don't think it's happening. Yeah, I don't think it's happening, but that's where it is. So it's more tepid than what we had last year, I'll say. Based on when we did this exercise last year, it is a little bit more tepid. But hey, I'd love to be wrong like we were wrong last year. But like in the opposite direction.
I was gonna say
They're not gonna be
just like we were wrong last year. What are you saying?
Just like yeah, but like this team does have a way of going against expectation.
Yes,
pretty solid.
They've been very hard to pin down and predict. I mean,
Yeah.
I think that's one thing this way too early has showed us looking back at the previous couple of years' results.
Right, and there's just so many of these games that I'm picking a win or a loss, but then if I start really thinking about how that game could go, it all of a sudden it turns into a special teams battle where one power play maybe swings this because I think the Lane Lambert system keeps games closer. I think that keeps them more low scoring, which I think favors the Kraken versus most other teams in the league. And I think that, that's going to produce some unexpected results, right? They're going to beat some teams they otherwise shouldn't. And I think they're not going to lose to the bad teams the way that they have in the past, right? It's just a matter of when are they going to beat those teams? I don't know. And so I don't really predict them, right? You know what I mean? Like I'm playing it safe, I guess, every time they play Dallas or Toronto or whatever by saying it's an L. But at some point during the season, I do think they win some of those games.
Yeah, I mean, it just probability says that they should win some, maybe not most, but some. And
more
so,
than
I mean,
they're
I think
used to winning.
right. Well, and that's what we've talked about really the last couple seasons is that if you can just be disciplined and take care of business in the games you're supposed to win, you can be an 85-point team, and it's not that hard if you bring that consistent effort. We'll of course see if the Kraken can do that. They haven't the last couple of years, but like it is possible. I mean, we saw what Calgary did last year, where if you get some hot goaltending too, you can be like a 96-point team if you just kind of show up night in, night out, and take care of business. So, but yeah, I mean, my biggest surprise or thing I wasn't expecting to see was, I mean, just the hot start. I mean, like 15-6-1.
It's a
And I was just going
yeah.
based off of games kind of falling the way I thought they should. Um,
Well,
you
and
got to look for those points early on.
right. If you can take care of business early on in the season when the schedule is so favorable, then all bets are off too, because it's just like, Joey said at exit interviews, right? The sport is so momentum based. And if the Kraken are able to jump off to the hot start like that, the vibes are good, the momentum's strong, that can carry them, and then you do start picking up more of those wins against the good teams, and you're taking care of business consistently against the bad teams, and you can end up in a spot like Calgary, like, because Calgary last year was really the model, right? It's play a very sound structured system, get the good goaltending like you said, and get there. I think if the Kraken start off really hot and that they're able to then run with that momentum, and we know that this is a momentum based team, that is the one thing we do know about this Kraken group. Yeah, I think them being 85 to 90 points is very doable.
Yeah. So I'm this was fun. I kind of liked going
Mhm.
through it, and I certainly feel better about early in the season, right? I'm a little more optimistic
Yeah, I'm
there,
definitely excited
than
for
maybe I
it.
was prior. Yeah. So I want to see the real results. I can't wait to have this all proven right or wrong.
Yes, and it'll be interesting to see too, kind of how the rest of the division shakes out as well around them, because that could also go a long way into determining some of these things and how the Kraken perform against teams like Vancouver and Calgary and Anaheim. That you can make an argument each way about whether or not the Kraken should be maybe considered a little above them or below them, and I think that that's going to determine a lot. There's a lot of games in division there against opponents like that, and of course we'll preview those teams next week with our division preview. So I'm looking forward to doing that in the future. Had a great time predicting all of these games. I hope other people play along as well. Again, I'll have Chuck's great sheet in the YouTube description for this episode. Thanks so much for listening, everybody. Big shout out again to Rico for sponsoring the podcast as well, the law offices of Rico Tessendor. And while we hope none of you ever need his services, the odds say that at some point someone out there will be involved in an accident, whether on the road, at work, or anywhere in between. And when you are, we hope you call Rico at 425-778-9800 or visit his website, ricotessendor.com, to schedule a free consultation. He's won millions of dollars for his clients and helped thousands of people in the greater Seattle area. And as a fellow member of the ECH community, we know he'll help you too. Hope you see RJ at the Oops All Goalie game on
The 23rd. That is this coming Saturday, August 23rd,
That's
at
right.
5 p.m.
That's right. It's a great time. You should definitely go and check it out. Thanks so much for listening, everybody, and we will see you all next time.
Hey everyone, before we go, we just wanted to give a quick shout out to all of our awesome patrons over at patreon.com/Emerald City Hockey, especially our Terror of the Deep patrons.
Thank you so much for making all this possible. We really appreciate your support.